The refrigerator had a sound. Not a hum, a knock. A rhythmic knock that started sometime around 2003 and never stopped. You learned to sleep through it. You learned to sleep through a lot of things. You grew up in a house where money was not discussed. It was felt. In the jaw that tightened when the car made a new noise. In the way your mother stood in the cereal aisle for a full minute before putting the box back. In the envelope she kept in the kitchen drawer that everyone in the family knew about and no one ever mentioned. The envelope was for emergencies. It was almost always empty. You were not told you were poor. Nobody said that word. You absorbed it the way children absorb everything completely, without knowing you were doing it. You saw what the other kids had. You understood the difference. You did not have language for it yet, but you understood it. School was fine. You were smart, and that helped. But smart in a house with no money mostly means you read everything and talk to no one about what you want. You learn early that wanting things out loud is embarrassing. That ambition in certain rooms sounds like delusion. You were 14 years old the first time you understood that the ceiling was not a metaphor. It was structural. It was the actual shape of the life you had been born into, and most people around you would spend their entire lives touching it without ever knowing it was there. You decided, quietly, alone, without telling anyone, that you were going to find a way out. You didn't know what that meant yet. You just knew the refrigerator knocked all night, and you were tired of the sound. The ceiling was invisible because nobody pointed at it. Nobody had to. You just kept growing until you hit it. You are 17 years old. You have a job at a grocery store, $8.40 an hour. You hand most of it to your mother without being asked, because you know what the envelope looks like when it's empty. You keep $40 a week for yourself. You spend none of it. You don't know what you're saving for. You just know that the number going up feels different from the number going down. You keep a notebook. You write down the total every Sunday night. The notebook is the most important thing you own. At 18, you get into a state school on a partial scholarship. The gap tuition minus scholarship is $7,200 a year. You take the loan without reading the terms carefully because everyone around you signs without reading, and because the alternative is not going. You go. College is the first place you encounter people who talk about money the way you think about it. Not anxiously, casually, as a tool. A kid in your dormitory explains compound interest to you on a whiteboard at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. You have heard the term before. You have never understood it. Something unlocks. You stay up until 3 a.m., running the math forward. $200 a month. 10 years. 30 years. The number at the end doesn't look real. You run it again. It still doesn't look real. You write it in the notebook anyway. You graduate at 22 with $34,000 in student loans and $1,100 in a savings account you opened junior year. You get a job, $38,000 a year. It is the most money you have ever been near that was yours. You do not celebrate. You open a spreadsheet. You are different from your friends at home. You know it. They know it too. Your ambition has an immune system around it. People who grew up the same way you did have an efficient response to anyone who starts acting like they're going somewhere. It looks like jokes. It sounds like jokes. It isn't jokes. You learn to keep the spreadsheet to yourself. Ambition in the wrong room doesn't sound like ambition. It sounds like a threat. You learn to carry it quietly, or you don't carry it at all. The first time you make $6,000 in a single month, you check the account 3 times. Not because you think it's wrong, because you have been trained your entire life to believe that money arriving this fast is a mistake, that something is about to correct itself, that someone is going to call and explain what happened and ask for it back. You are 26. The $6,000 comes from a side income 3 years of building something after work, on weekends, in the hour before anyone else in your apartment woke up. 3 years of the $38,000 salary covering the rent, while the other thing grew from nothing into $800 a month, then $2,100, then $6,000. The money is real. You know it's real. The fear is realer. Here is what happens next. The apartment gets nicer. Not dramatically nicer. You don't move somewhere expensive. But the one you move to has a separate bedroom and in-unit laundry, and you don't have to think about quarters anymore, and that matters more than you expected it to. You get a better car. Not new, still used, but one where the check engine light is off and has been off for more than a week. You start saying yes to things you used to automatically say no to. The dinner with the work colleagues, the flight home for Christmas instead of the bus. Small things, rational things, each one defensible on its own. At the end of that first $6,000 month, you have saved $190. You run the numbers in the spreadsheet. The income went up, the savings went down. You sit with that for a long time. The operating system didn't update. Your income changed. Your psychology didn't. You are still running the same scarcity software you installed at age 7, watching your mother stand in the cereal aisle. The difference is that scarcity software in a body with money doesn't make you careful. It makes you spend, because the thing the brain learned in that aisle was not how to save. It was that things disappear, that abundance is temporary, that you should use it while it's here because it won't be here long. Your cousin calls. He needs $800. There's a situation. You don't ask what the situation is. You send the $800. Because you have $800 to send, and he doesn't, and you grew up in the same house with the same refrigerator and the same envelope in the same drawer, and you know what it looks like when someone needs $800 and doesn't have it. You send the $800. You will send it 6 more times over the next 2 years. You do not resent it. Not exactly, but you notice it. 3 months later, the $6,000 month stop. The client that was driving most of it moves on. The income drops back to $2,400. You feel the drop the way you felt cold air when you were a kid immediately, in your whole body, before you fully processed what's happening. The fear was right, you tell yourself. See, it was temporary. It always is. You are wrong, but you don't know that yet. You can change your income and leave your psychology exactly where it was. The money moves, the fear stays. That gap is where most of it disappears. You are 28 years old. The income is back. Not $6,000 a month. More, $9,200 on a month that goes well. You have rebuilt the client base and added to it, and this time you understand something you didn't understand the first time around. The income is not the variable that matters. What runs beside it is. You do something different this time. Before the first payment clears, you automate $1,400 into a separate account, not the emergency fund, the investment account. You set it to transfer on the same day the income arrives. The money moves before your brain decides what it's for. The first month, you nearly cancel it. The transfer processes and the checking account looks thin, and every instinct you built in the house with the refrigerator tells you that thin is dangerous. You don't cancel it. You put the phone face down. You go to sleep. The second month, you don't nearly cancel it. You just leave it. By month 4, you have stopped noticing it. The $1,400 leaves, and the life on the other side of it continues, and nothing bad happens. This is not a small discovery. This is the central discovery. Nothing bad happens when the money leaves for the account you don't touch. The fear was not a forecast. It was a habit. Your cousin calls again. $800. Same situation. Different month. This time you send $300. You tell him, it's what you have available right now. This is not true. You have more than $300. This is the first time in your adult life that you have said no to that call using a number instead of the truth, and the number protects both of you. He is not angry. He thanks you and hangs up. You feel something unfamiliar, not guilt, something closer to clarity. You open a Roth IRA, $583 a month, maxed for the year. The money goes into a total market index fund at a 0.03% expense ratio. You read about expense ratios for 2 weeks before you do this. You find out that the fund you were in before charged 0.87%. You calculate the difference over 30 years. You sit with that number for a while. The student loans, $34,000 at the start, $27,000 for $400. Now go on an aggressive payoff schedule, $800 a month, not the minimum, $800. You run the amortization table and highlight the payoff date in the spreadsheet, August 2027. You look at that date the way you used to look at the notebook balance on Sunday nights, like a number going in the right direction. You do not tell anyone about any of this. Not because you are ashamed, because you learned a long time ago that the spreadsheet is private. Because the people who grew up where you grew up will hear Roth IRA and hear something about distance. And you are not trying to be distant. You are trying to build something. Those are different things, and the difference is hard to explain without sounding like you've already left. You go home for Thanksgiving. The refrigerator is still there, still knocking. Your mother has learned to sleep through it too. You eat dinner in the kitchen, and someone makes a joke about your job, and you laugh at the right moments. On the drive back, you do the math in your head. Net worth positive for the first time. By $4,300. You have spent 28 years below zero. You have been above it for exactly 1 month. It doesn't feel like anything yet. You know it will. The rewiring doesn't happen in a moment. It happens in the 4th month, when the transfer processes and you don't cancel it. That's it. That's the whole thing. Not the decision the second time you don't undo it. You are 33 years old. Your net worth is $214,000. That number would have been incomprehensible to the person who grew up in that house. To you now, it is a number in a spreadsheet that is going in the right direction. You check it every Sunday night. Old habit, new number. The income is $19,000 most months, sometimes more. The Roth is maxed every year. The student loans are gone, paid off 14 months ahead of schedule. The investment account has $87,000 in it doing work you don't have to do. You reinvest the dividends automatically. The account earns more in a quarter than the grocery store paid you in a year. You still automate the transfer before your brain decides what it's for. The psychology didn't fully update. You made peace with that. You built systems that work whether the psychology cooperates or not. That is the only actual solution. You are not a different person. You are the same person with better architecture. Your mother's envelope is no longer empty. You put money in it every month. Not a loan, not conditional. You just put it in. She does not know how much you make. You have decided she does not need to. What she needs is for the envelope not to be empty. And you can do that now, so you do. There are things that didn't update. You still feel the drop when a bad month comes. Still check the account more than necessary. Still feel the old reflex when someone asks to borrow money. The reflex that says yes before you've decided. The reflex you learned in the house. The reflex that took years to understand and more years to reroute. It is still there. You have just built something stronger around it. The people you grew up with, most of them are fine. Some of them are not. The distance is not about money. It is about time. About the fact that your Sundays now look different from their Sundays in ways that don't translate easily into conversation. You are not better. You just went somewhere they didn't. You are still not sure how to talk about that without it sounding like you think you won something. You haven't won anything. You just changed what you were building. There is one thing nobody tells you about making real money after growing up without it. It doesn't fix the thing you thought it would fix. You thought the anxiety would leave when the number was high enough. It didn't leave. It changed shape. The old anxiety was about not having enough. The new one is about losing what you built. Different address. Same tenant. You still dream about the refrigerator sometimes. The knock. The dark kitchen. You wake up and the apartment is quiet, and the account is where you left it, and nothing is wrong. You go back to sleep. The envelope your mother keeps is full. That part is fixed. You focus on that. Somewhere tonight, a 14-year-old is lying in a bedroom listening to a refrigerator knock. The house is quiet. The envelope in the kitchen is empty. The adults in the next room are not talking about money because money in that house is not talked about. It is felt. In the jaw. In the cereal aisle. In the shape of everything that doesn't happen. The 14-year-old is not thinking about compound interest. They don't know that word yet. They are thinking about the sound, about how long it has been making it, about whether it will ever stop. They decide, quietly, without telling anyone, that they are going to find a way out. They don't know what that means. They just know the sound, and they are tired of it. They are not wrong about what they want. They are not wrong about where they are going. They are just wrong about what it will feel like when they get there. It doesn't feel like escape. It feels like construction. Slow, private, unglamorous construction that happens on Sunday nights with a spreadsheet and an automated transfer and a Roth IRA and an envelope that finally stays full. The refrigerator still knocks. You just built something loud enough that you don't hear it anymore.